Getting better at League of Legends, especially jungle, just takes a ridiculous amount of time, and largely that's because the practice tool is absolutely trash. Does nothing, doesn't help you, and all it's really good for is practicing your clears and a few combos. Enter the future of League of Legends practice tools. SkillGap reached out to me a few months ago and said we need to develop tasks that are great for helping junglers get better. This will help you warm up, it'll increase your reactions, it'll help you get better at aiming, kiting, and CSing. It'll simply make you an absolutely complete League of Legends player and even increase your macro awareness as a jungler with a tool that I helped them develop, as well as a secret hidden one that I think most of you might need. What SkillGap is literally a practice environment to get you better at all the things you're gonna need for League. From very simple basic things such as CSing to the survival mode, which is basically League of Legends zombies. You pick your champion that you want to use and it's everything thrown at your face using all skills possible. A mechanical ultimate practice environment, amazing for warm-up. But how exactly does all of this relate to your regular jungling and your regular improvement? And how can it speed it up? Well, as you can see, there's a lot of different mechanics such as dodging, defensive kiting, simply spacing your champion, and obviously you have, as you can see in your screen now, practice tools to get better at those chosen skills, but you also have these 3D black ones which are focused on helping you automate a very main and basic mechanic in League, working on cognitive abilities, your reaction speeds, and various concepts that you use on a game-by-game basis, but maybe you don't think about improving, or until this moment, never knew how to improve, such as even tracking your cooldowns, or knowing where all your buttons are and pressing them at the right moment. If you'll allow me, let's look at two coaching examples that I literally just had this week, where I basically identified all these different things and said, hey, if you go into SkillGap and use these specific tasks, you're actually going to have a much better execution of your game plans, of what you want to accomplish, and mechanically become a jungle god. Now, before I go into the tool that I really helped them develop in terms of becoming a better jungler, absolutely incredible, look at this very simple gank that we have here. You can guess the MMR of the game if you like, but you can see the gank here. We're having a terrible angle of approach into the lane. We are aggressively kiting forward to chase down the champion, but then we're missing a spell, and when they turn on us, we're not dodging their actual ability here. So we're basically walking to our death. This is a thing that simply plagues basically every single jungler when you go ganking, and also affects you when you go skirmishing, but we'll get to that in a second. So if you look at your own gameplay and you think, all right, I'm doing good ganks, I'm recognizing it, but then mechanically I'm just way off. And it doesn't really matter what champion you're playing. How do I get better at those specific skills when you're only doing a few ganks a game? What if I could do 1,000,000 ganks in a week? I mean, if you wanted to. I recommend doing other things, but then you would go into SkillGap, and the first thing you'd want to do is say, okay, I need to have better spacing with my champion compared to the enemy champion. I need to be able to auto attack as well, and obviously I need to be able to dodge. So if you wanted to do a bit of a warm-up before you went into the actual practice tool, you'd simply click on the spacing task, you go in, you read the instructions, and it would allow you to actually play through it. So in this particular situation, you can see the goal is to right-click and ensure that you maintain the same distance around the center circle. Very fundamental, very basic. But what most of you don't realize is when you actually mess up on ganks and miss skill shots and you overcommit in all these situations, it's because your mouse clicks are too far wide. Look here, you see? If I'm clicking too far wide, I'm always gonna be in the wrong position to either dodge, to hit a skill shot, be too far away for auto attacks. It's the fundamental of all of your ganking, all of your clearing, everything you do as a jungler and a player comes back down to raw spacing with enemy champions. Now the good news is absolutely all of these training tools has a practice test as well as a competitive mode where you can enter onto the leaderboards. I'm just showing you the training at the moment, but you can by far go ahead and compete with others and really beat your own scores. And at the same time, you can also artificially boost the difficulty level to make sure that you're training hard, because the harder it is in practice, the easier the game is gonna be. That's a fundamental to all sport. But now you've finished warming up a little bit there. Now, okay, I'm ready to go into the practice tool. Same thing, you're gonna go into spacing, you choose your champion that you wanna select, you go against the Ahri, and you practice your spacing. Here I also mentioned in this ganking scenario, defensive kiting and offensive kiting. We have both these tools as well, you can see side by side. There's also a practice task that you can use in the black environment, and then you can go into the practice tool with your chosen champion and get better at it. You can just put in the reps with whatever skill fundamental you believe you need to work on most. These are fundamentally important no matter what you're doing. And here's the thing, I'm just gonna cut in and explain how do I choose what to do then? Well, before I show you the special jungle training tool that I have just for you, you can see a weekly routine provided and suggested for you. Now, this will only get better when you do it in performance mode and competitive mode, not in practice mode. So the more you do that, the more you will realize where you need to work, and it will adapt and give you the tools you need for the upcoming week. And you can simply go through all of them without thinking, get better, use it as a warm-up, do it in between games, or you can artificially choose something you specifically want to do more reps on. Really, it is up to you. But Skill Gap gives you absolutely everything you need in order to get better at these fundamentals. But if we go back to some live coaching, you can see this Fiddlesticks, he's doing his full clear down. He's gonna go gank bottom lane. Why does this look off to you? Hopefully you noticed something that I noticed in coaching him. I noticed that, hey look, the bottom lane moved up toward Tribush, you completely missed it. The enemy Lee Sin will now know exactly where you are. You will no longer have the ganking angle necessary to succeed here, and it's gonna lead to a fight. What the Fiddlesticks had to be doing was actually kiting his camps, looking at his minimap all the time. Even if you're not clicking and F-king every lane all the time, because that's not possible, we're not all Faker, you're still frequently having to look down and check to see where people path, see where wards go, so that he could have actually gone around, had a great gank. Lee Sin would have seen it way too late, and maybe he's already thinking about basing, who knows? The same thing here happened with this Warwick. He is doing a full clear, cutting across mid lane, misses Diana, rotates super late. Yeah, he's able to get 2 kills, as you will see him do that, but the fact of the matter is his mid laner died. He could have saved him, he could have protected him, and this Warwick is gonna die in a multitude of ways because he's focusing on his actual clearing and general mechanics. He's not paying attention as a jungler should to pathing, tracking, and where people should be. And that, my friends, affects every jungler and every single MMR, especially master AFK farming junglers who don't even look at lanes once. Enter the training task. I am super excited about the Aim Plus map. This is what we work together on for junglers to get better at all of the things that allow you to do all of the things. You've got to be able to aim, right-click, do all the things you're doing while clearing and doing grubs and fighting dragons while looking at the minimap. So in this task, you can see it's quite simple. You right-click when you need to, use the ability when you need to, and you use your D and F keys to cut off the falling thing on the minimap. So you always have to look to make sure you can hit it. And of course, like all the other practice tools, you can increase that difficulty or go into the competitive mode, which just for context is called the survival mode, where you actually only have 3 lives. So it's really that competitive edge, that real pure training versus the training mode, which is just a bit more, hey, let me get some reps in. I absolutely love this one, especially when used in conjunction for a warm-up with the key coordination mode, because as a jungler, when you're clearing and you're moving around the map, we're always using our spells consistently. We're always F-king to pay attention to the map consistently. And when it comes to fights, you've got to be able to know which of those abilities and spells you're going to be using, just as a way to get used to your keyboards, get warmed up, and get ready to go. Now again, the tasks are focusing on one single skill, and the practice tools end up focusing on a lot of those skills together, which is why the absolute best one, even though you see a whole bunch of other different games and tasks you can choose as necessary, the most popular one is Shootvival. The reason for that is it's basically League of Legends zombies. Dodge plus aim plus kiting in one training task. A lot of micromechanical awareness required by everybody. The difficulty can be quite intense, as you'll see from some of the typical B-roll footage here. So you can go up there and practice your windups. You can practice your cancellation of auto attacks. Practice when to flash. Practice it with an Ezreal, which is a prime mechanical champion to get better at, but you can also choose other melee ones should you want. The goal here simply is to live as long as you possibly can. The best thing about these kinds of modes in the practice tool, as well as with Shootvival specifically, is you can actually lock or unlock your cam. I do advise all junglers to learn to play without lock cam. You got to be able to move around and pan around significantly more than other roles. Please use this tool, use that button to really focus on getting better at that as well. And right before we get into the jungle tool that everybody's been asking me for years, that I basically had a meeting with them initially and said, look, we got to get this in. I will tell you that you can import your league controls, obviously in the settings, whatever you like with your hotkeys. We also have cognitive tests, so you can test your audio reaction, your key reaction, your mouse reaction, your visual reaction. Great way to warm up a little bit in the morning after your coffee when you're primed to go into ranked. Do this first, then do some of your other tasks, and then you're good to go. No need to go to ARAMs now and waste your time. No need to sit around and practice tools spamming whatever it is you do. Yeah, you can practice your clears, but start with this. Start with something that allows you to warm up, and obviously I recommend the aim plus control plus map game. And finally, as you all know, what I love posting in these videos from time to time, actually in all of my videos, is me stealing away dragons and barons, because I also coach a lot of people who simply lose dragons, barons, and heralds unnecessarily. Done it with Mundo, I've done it with Zyra, I've done it with Volibear, and I've even done it with a Yuumi outsmiting a Nidalee at level 1. Don't ask, it was a funny time, I was in a weird place. But way too many games are straight up lost because you simply throw away advantages from a Baron, from a Dragon that you should not have. And the best way to improve with that is through a smite game. Now this beautiful sexy Baron isn't quite ready yet for the in-practice tool. That's going to take some work. We're working on Baron examples, basically where you're going to have Nidalees chucking spears over there. You got to deal with the peel and the turn. It's really going to be amazing. But for now, the smite task will 100% make you better. You got to time it correctly. You got to make sure that you're tracking the burst We specifically worked on this so that the burst damages would be variable, you would have a different amount of bursts at different moments, and it's all about your reaction speed and smiting. You can get better at that through anticipation. All of smiting is about anticipation, not reaction. You know that what's going to happen is that HP is dropping at a certain rate, your Jin's going to hit a 4th shot for no particular reason, you're expecting it, you're waiting for it, and as soon as it hits that threshold to combine your ability with the smite, boom, we are hitting it. This was one of those things I wanted to launch at Virkayu.gg about 2 years ago when I launched the website. We just didn't have the tech and I didn't have the knowledge. Fortunately, Skill Cap does, and it's going to be the way to go. Now, the whole question is, as I show generic footage of the app as well as some game footage, you choose which you want to look at. Can I use this for free? My friends, yes you can. Now, you're not going to have access to all of the tools because obviously there is some sort of paid advantage to getting absolute everything. But the good news is the Aim Plus Map warm up, that game for junglers is available free. The Dodge micro game as well as a Shoot Rival, this is all for you for free. You'll never have to pay anything. You have access to 5 champions, 1 for every role. It's an absolutely insane deal. Some were saying it's the best deal, in fact, of all time. But at the same time, it is an extremely affordable thing should you want to access the full training suite, all the tools, all the tasks, all the tests, all of the cognitive learning that you can get to speed up your league climb, and access to all of the future great tools that are coming that way that I will work on with them to make jungle have the training tools and the tutorials necessary that Riot refused to give you, that I've always wanted to bring to you. And finally, we have Skill Gap saving the day. And obviously this can be available to you for €5 a month. That's it. You have bundles available for 3 months and a year, but ultimately absolutely insane value here packed into this tool if you want to get better and climb at League of Legends. You have my vow that I've been working with them on this and will keep working with them on this to make sure you junglers are represented greatly. We'll have amazing things growing from this. There's nothing else like this. We don't have an aim labs, we don't have a practice tool. Everything that we need to learn in terms of fundamental breakdown, individual skills that cannot be learned without repetition and volume, that can only be accomplished with this app. And then putting them into practice scenarios also here, and then you take it over to in-game and you're gonna notice a big difference in your awareness, your kiting, your dodging, your aiming, your reaction speeds, and you're not gonna lose as many objectives to smite. So if you're interested in trying this out for free, which of course you can, please go ahead. Links in the top of the description and the pinned comment. I'm going to be using it myself. I've already given it to my private Virkayu.gg Discord. Feel free to join us there as well. And we shall basically all improve as junglers 100 times faster than everybody else. And if you want to learn a bit more about getting better as a jungler once you've done some mechanical tools and become a god, click this video to learn how to carry in your MMR.